Right now we're estimating that the entire food system from the farm to the fork releases about 20% of the total greenhouse gases that we can account for.
Right now, food is grown, far from where people live. We use huge machines that, spew carbon and pollution. We use pesticides, that poison the earth and run off into the rivers to make a carrot. Well, we used to make carrots without all that stuff.
The situation that we find ourselves in on this 90-degree day in Santa Cruz in the spring, this is not our normal weather. This is a bit of global weirding. We are now beginning to see the implications of our behavior on this planet.
America's FoodPrint is a 1-hour PBS documentary education and outreach initiative being produced by the Media and Policy Center to examine the food system's impact on global climate change and offer best practice solutions that innovative farmers are successfully implementing across the country.
In my grandfather's generation, they farmed organically. There really wasn't any other options. Then in my father's generation, chemical farming was the promise of salvation for farmers. They were finally going to be able to truly make some money.
Today it is difficult for you to look in any direction without seeing something made possible or made better with petroleum.
Herbicides were going to take care of their weed problems. Chemical pesticides were going to take care of their insect problems. But all of that has come back and shown us that that was not the right way at all. It's completely damaged the whole natural order of things.
Over the last 75 years or so, we have increasingly introduced fossil fuel into the way we grow food. We moved toward an agriculture based on synthetic fertilizers, which are made from natural gas, that is reliant on pesticides, which are made from petroleum. That has to be moved all around the world. With the result that a system that used to produce 2.4 calories of food energy for every calorie of fossil fuel energy added to the system now takes 10 calories of fossil fuel energy to produce 1 calorie of supermarket food. So we've gone from a system that was a net gain, fossil fuel in, food out, to one that is a dramatic loser. Tons of fossil fuel, very little food relative to the amount of energy. So what that means is when you're eating from this industrial food system, you are eating oil and spewing greenhouse gas. That is why the food system is one of the biggest contributors to climate change that we have.
The unsustainable agriculture really is, it's a whole different ballgame than what I do. It's really been created by the oil industry. People think that that's the way everyone's always farmed, but it's actually been a brief moment in the history of mankind. They have to use herbicides, they use fungicides, they use chemical fertilizers, insecticides, so some plants might be sprayed with some sort of chemical, say 20 times in its lifetime. And that's just too much.
I really understood that what happens upstream affects what's happening downstream. And there's no way for me to have a little island of a restaurant with the world not paying attention to the environment, that sooner or later it was going to come back to me. And if it didn't come back to me, it was going to come back to our children.
Today's modern agriculture is chemical dependent. It's actual chemical dependency we have in our food production system. We have to take this needle of dependency out of the system if we want to clean up our waterways, if we want to clean the carbon dioxide out of our atmosphere and hold it in the soil where it actually benefits life and plants and food and humans.
Through organic farming practices, green manures, the planting of legumes, the normal process of bacteria and fungi breaking down nutrients in the soil, you're actually sequestering carbon out of the atmosphere into the soil. And that has a great opportunity to be removing what we have too much of in the atmosphere. The numbers are just coming out, but if you convert 10,000 medium-sized farms to organic agriculture, it's the equivalent of removing 1 million cars off the road. Those are significant numbers.
So when you step back and take one thought about our food print, are we going to contribute to global warming? Or are we going to sequester carbon and rebuild our soils at the same time? When you think about it, it's just biological.
Now, as we look to the future, we're going to ask farmers to change and adapt to a new environment, a new physical environment, a new philosophical environment. And in order to do that, they're going to have to change not only what they do, but more importantly, how they do it. So the concepts that have been developed in organic agriculture, to be able to expand those beyond the confines of certified organic farmers into the world of all of farming, is a real exciting challenge for all of us.
Without farmers, nobody eats. So we have to be stewards of the land. We have to be stewards of our water and our air and our soil. All of our natural resources need to be protected. And farmers are on the first line of defense.
We can feed the planet, but we need to do it the right way so that future generations can enjoy it.
We need to let 1,000 flowers bloom. Let people try farming in many different ways. Because who knows what model we're going to need. Who knows what kind of environment we're going to be dealing with in 50 or 100 years. The only certain thing about climate change is uncertainty. I mean, that we're going to have a much more volatile system.
I mean, the facts are frightening and appalling, and that has its place, but there's also a truth beyond the facts. And the truth beyond the facts is that we are a brilliant species. We can solve problems together. The same mind that got us into these problems can become enlightened and then begin to move us out. And that truth of the possibility of us living on a thriving, healthy, green planet, that truth is also powerful.
You've got carrots in between the rows?
Yeah, we plant carrots. Carrots love tomatoes.
That's true. I've heard that before. There's a kid's book that said so. That is phenomenal.